All right, I think we're live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, all over the world. Dobson 777A here. Let me hit this. I had some problems trying to launch my live stream tonight. I went through the whole thing, had it all set up, and then the thing crashed on me. It's aggravating. And I think I got the wrong microphone set up here. So I apologize for that. It's not going to sound as sharp. Oh, well, that was one of the last steps. I forgot to check that. Well, I've been watching the precious metals today or this evening, and looks like we've kind of taken a little dump. Oh, but then it's back up again. Oh, what the heck happened there? I was watching it. Let me do this. We're at 1845 for gold, and we're at 2469 for silver. And the gold silver ratio, I guess it closed at 75 last. So that gives you an idea there. We got 3 people. Oh, look, here's some people talking already. I love the fish picture. Did it make you thirsty? Albert J. and Jeff Flaherty are in the house. I was a little tired earlier. I wasn't sure I was going to do my live stream tonight, so I grabbed a Coke, and it's been in the fridge. I don't drink these things. It was in the fridge so long, the stupid thing's flat. Silver liner. I made a nice little meal today. I had some steak that was marked down at the store, and I cut up some onions and some mushrooms and some bell peppers and kind of did a pan fry type thing, or almost like a wok type stuff, stir fry. Let's hit some of the news. First thing I noticed, I don't know, those of you who've been following this channel for a while, you'll probably notice I'm way out there in front of a lot of people on our full spectrum prepping. And there's an article on Zero Hedge talking about Americans are panic buying firewood and wood stoves. And the whole middle of the country, we've got one of those really cold fronts that are dipping all the way down to Texas. And if you remember earlier this year, Texas got slammed really hard, and they were screwed up for like 2 weeks. And some people actually even died. So back in 2017, if you remember, I had been really focusing on trying to be as independent as possible, reasonably possible. And if you remember, I put in 2 wood stoves. I also insulated the crap out of my house. I put some, I can't think of the name of the insulation. I put some in the basement, in the ceiling of the basement ceiling, and it's this rock wool. It's a particular rock wool insulation, so it's like a fire material, but it's also a sound deadening. And so I insulated the crap out of the basement, so it tries to keep the heat down there. But then I also insulated my attic, and I've shown pictures in the past. I put together a presentation. I haven't got to it yet to show you guys, but I spent $3,500 in my attic of my house. It's a fairly large house upstairs, 2,500 square feet, and I put it up into the roof decking above, and it's the fiberglass insulation. And then we added more insulation on the horizontal part, and then I put a radiant barrier. I got something like an R90 insulation, and I did that specifically because I first just had a fireplace upstairs, and anybody that has a fireplace realizes that thing just does not put out the heat like a wood stove does. And then when I put the wood stove in, I was like, it still was not heating the house. So it was just struggling. So when I insulated, it's like, now the house stays very nice. And I just need just a small fire running, 24/7 from about this point forward. And the house stays just perfectly comfortable. And when it gets real cold in January and February, I've got the wood stove in the basement. I almost thought about firing that up tonight because it was a little chilly during the day. We just didn't have any sun today. I get some thermal effects, from the sun on the south side of the house, which radiates into the house, and that's really nice. But anyways, they're talking about wood is up like 33% firewood since last year in certain areas of the country. And they go through a description of how much is a cord, and that's 4 foot wide, 4 foot tall, and 8 feet long. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I've learned over the past 4 years exactly how to do my fireplace, and the biggest secret I've learned is you got to make sure it's really well seasoned. So I usually split my stuff in March, and I've done videos showing you that. But the other thing I do is I've been splitting it much larger. I do very large pieces because the wood stove is so doggone hot. It just like burns it up if it's too much smaller. So this way I just don't have to tend to the thing as much. All right, so now let's see. We got Albert Jays says he can't find his welding tips. Oh gosh. Glad to see Kyle. Yeah, Kyle got off. That's I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. Chung Choi's here. That's almost keeping up with silver's increase. Yeah. Yeah, mile high above sea level really helps out a lot. I'm 1,200 feet above sea level here, and I'm a long ways away above any kind of water nearby, and I'm a long ways away from the coastline, so I don't have to worry about that either. But I just thought it was interesting. This firewood, I think people are realizing they can't count on their electricity, and that's one of the reasons why I retired. I decided that I was going to, because I could see how fragile all of our systems are. And I wanted to talk about, there's these perverse incentives that the federal government's been doing for the solar and wind and all that stuff, and they've kind of screwed up our ability to provide consistent power through all types of environmental things that happen. They just don't have the base load anymore and emergency power available because they've spent so much money going the other way that the electricity just costs that much more. So keep that in mind. That's a major problem with this whole power system we got. And anything that you can do, as you know, I did the solar also, and I put LED lighting throughout the whole thing. I only have like a couple fluorescent lights left that I got to convert. But I mean, I forget what the number was. It was like 150, 200 light bulbs I changed throughout the whole house. It was a lot. But again, I was trying to make it to where my electricity bill, which was pretty good size house, so like it's 2,500 upstairs, and I got probably another 2,000 square feet downstairs. And my electric bill was 350, 400, depending on the time of year. Now I average around $100, so it's fantastic. But I save the majority of my energy in the wintertime because I am doing my wood stoves, and it's extremely cost effective. It's work though, folks. It's a little bit of work, but I enjoy it. I think it's a blast. Penny Pinch Prepper is in the house. Your house uses 200 to 300 watts. That's like nothing. I've got 2 refrigerators. I got 3 freezers, 2 stand up and 1 chest freezer. I got like 2 washers, 2 dryers, 2 dishwashers. It's ridiculous. This is a massive house. Down the road, I want to get like a bunch of Venezuelans or something in here to help me manage this property. 1 inverter. I got several backup inverters too, that for mobile type inverters that I've got set up. Yeah, I haven't really spent much time on uranium and the miners. I did do a little bit of preliminary stuff. I still have a lot of personal type things that I'm working on, and I'm hoping eventually this thing will clean out. But it's just one of those things. It's like watching grass grow. Eventually we'll get done. Drink my Coca-Cola. I need an RC Cola and a moon pie. That's the southern thing we got here. All right, so what was the next thing? So there was an article about on Zero Hedge again, and they're talking about they were predicting that CPI was going to be about 2.2% by December 2021. And then they said, nah, it's going to be about 2.77. And now they said, no, we're going to be 5.19 to 6.13. Now, remember, this CPI crap, this is a manipulated thing from years ago. They changed the way they calculate it. So you can pretty much double it, and that's your true inflation for all the stuff that we typically buy. So we're getting out of control quick. And of course, how many of y'all had a 6% raise? And truthfully, you need to have a 12% to keep even, or you better have some other gig on the side. I don't know. This is starting to look really ugly. So that was that. How many of y'all are noticing inflation? Don't worry, peeps. Government says it's transitory. Yeah, free advertising. I ought to go see if I can get an ad from them for that. I don't know. I just, to tell you the truth, I drink this or I drink root beer. Root beer is like actually my favorite, and I have to admit, this is old. It's flat as hell, but it's got some caffeine to keep me awake. Normally I just have my little red glass that I have whatever I want to be in here. You can't tell what it is, but it's my lemon water. I still can't do that apple cider vinegar. I've tried to choke that stuff down. I just have not been able to do it. I don't know. All right, so the two spending bills. I'm actually kind of surprised when I look at gold that's going down right now. It's kind of strange to me because these spending bills are approaching $5 trillion or some dang thing. I guess because it hadn't been released yet, they're not. Gold isn't releasing, but I just find that just strange that we have any kind of weakness. I thought we were just going to go week after week, straight up, but this is kind of strange. Now, you know what it is? I'll tell you what it is. I just thought of it. Holiday week. There's going to be hardly any activity in trading, and so therefore they'll be able to do some smackdowns, just like the last week of the year with, between Christmas and New Year's, same thing, very weak trading, and so anything they want to do, they can do at that time. So keep that in mind. So this week you might see some weakness. There was a really good article about Jim Grant too, and I found two gold articles here recently, and I'll probably do a video where we can talk about them more in depth. But he gets into the fact about these bond purchases that they're doing, and this whole thing that's going on. He just says it feels like they're just pouring a little gasoline on the fire, and everybody's concerned about what's going on with the cryptos, and I think there's a lot of people who are still concerned that they're going to pull the rug out from underneath it. I mean, I even heard Hillary Clinton this week saying it's a risk to our currency, and so whenever you get several people like that, it's coming from several different angles. They're kind of foreshadowing. So I just want you to be careful out there, and I even put a video up about Kramer. And he's even saying better take some profits because there may not be any bottom underneath this thing when it starts going. So whenever something's gone up significantly, don't be afraid to take profits, and maybe at least get your initial investment out and then let the rest ride. So that's kind of a secret of a sophisticated investor. And then back to Rittenhouse. That was definitely interesting. Did you see the guy collapse when they read off the 5 counts that he was innocent for? That was really I was really happy for the guy. Really happy. I think the system worked. It's funny watching all the mainstream media folks getting all bent out of shape, but you know that poor guy. I don't know if he's going to have any luck suing these media outlets or not, but at least he's a free guy. And I saw that you can actually do, what is that thing called where you can send money for oh, I can't think of the name of it right now. It because he was innocent, they or at least not found guilty. They've got that one app where you can send money to the poor kid. I might even send him a few bucks. I have to find out who's the official. That's the one thing you got to figure out. What's the official one? Anybody remember what that thing's called? It wasn't Venmo. It's one of the main apps where people do like fundraising for people where you know the parents died and just the kids are left, or husband died. I forget what it's called. Anyways, a lot of times that thing's very politicized. Yeah, I don't know that you can actually. It's more of a fundraising thing, not these cash apps. It's man, I can't remember the name of it. I think it's kind of people have set it aside because it got so political. Let me see if I can just Google it. It's not sticking out here when I'm looking. Oh, GoFundMe. Yeah, GoFundMe. There you go. Jeff came up with it. Two Jeffs came up with it. Yeah, GoFundMe originally shut it down to where they wouldn't let anybody pay to fund his defense, but now they're allowing him. That's just an article I saw. I didn't verify it or anything, but I think that's good. But you can't count on that particular application. They are too doggone um, political. Did you guys see this article where some Canadian teen was arrested for allegedly stealing 36.5 million in crypto? He he hijacked a wireless customer's phone number and that allowed him to intercept two-factor authentication codes. I don't know, anybody that would have had, $36 million worth of crypto, but apparently somebody did, and this guy was able to do it. But he left some clues that allowed them to track him down, but that doesn't mean that they're going to be able to recover it. But that's what they're doing. I wasn't going to drink this whole thing. I'll probably be up all night now. How's that? Do my product placement ad here. Honestly, they're not paying me for this. So I have a tenant who tells me, "Oh, this watch, this is actually amazingly old. This is probably 6 or 7 years old now. I forgot to bring my glasses, but I think this is a Casio Pathfinder, and this thing has like an altimeter in it. It's got a temperature thing in it. It's atomic, and it's like one of the most robust watches. This is my work watch for running, working out in the yard and doing everything. But it's amazing, these Pathfinders. I think it was like $200 many years ago. In fact, it's probably time to change the battery in the thing. Anyways, what was I going to talk about? I had something on my mind I was going to cover. Oh yeah, so I was going to tell you about my tenant. I got a kind of a, I don't want to say elderly guy. He's 72 or something, and he's a race car driver. I actually want to do an interview with him because he's got these fantastic stories. But anyways, he tells me that he used to regularly spend $200 at the grocery store until this year. Now he's spending $300. I mean, this guy's skinny as a rail. It's not like he's eating a lot or anything. He's buying the same stuff. And he said he's seeing a 33% increase. Now, actually, that's a 50% increase. My apologies. When you go from 200 to 300, that's a 50%, right? No, it's 33%. It's late. So what about any of you guys got families? That's got to be catastrophic for a family, to be buying food and everything. My son tells me that it's hard to find, chicken for his family and everything. Greg Steinberg's in the house. But I tell you what, I go down there and look at my freezers. My freezers are packed to the max. I just did those 25 6-pound chickens, and I had to do quite a bit of manipulation to be able to, kind of relocate some of the other chickens upstairs so I could eat those up, and then, get all the rest of them in the freezer. I probably had enough room for maybe 4 or 5 chickens left. So that spending bill, I was reading some articles about the Republicans are going to do a lot of things to try to slow down or even prevent some of the spending elements. So I don't know. I don't know what's really going to happen. It's a complex thing. We still have another freaking year for midterms before you get significant changes. So I don't know what's going to happen. I need to pull a turkey out. I've got one in the freezer. I've been waiting to cook, and that'll leave room to put one back in. So I'll pick one up at the store and put it back in. I like to do that, keep a little rotation going. I love turkey. In fact, I may end up smoking that bad boy. I have not smoked a turkey in a long time. I should see if I can get some friends over. Any of you guys ever smoked a turkey? I got a professional smoker out there. I haven't used it in a while. I used to stick it in there and I'd smoke it the whole time, but it ended up too strong for me. So now what I do is just do it a few hours out there just to get some of the flavor, and then I finish it off in the oven because then I can control the temperature much better. Wow. 20% increase in propane. Yeah, propane, natural gas, everything I've heard is up quite a bit. I just had my tank filled here, and of course, I think I get a commercial rate because I've got all these tanks at all the rental properties. So I think they're giving me a commercial rate, but I'm not seeing a significant increase around here. But I haven't bought a propane bottle. A little secret to you: instead of going to the grocery store and just trading this in, find your local propane company and bring it over there. It's way cheaper. And sometimes those 20-pound containers, or they actually fill them free as customer appreciation things. So keep that in mind. Save you some money. I actually put together some history charts of my real estate taxes over the last, whatever it is, I've owned these properties 9, 10 years. And it's kind of interesting looking at, it was, you'll go many years with virtually no increase, and then they jump it way up, and then it kind of holds there for a long time, and then all of a sudden they'll jump it up again. So I'm not sure if we're going to have an increase this year or not. We just got a new mayor in this area, and he's a kind of a constitutionalist, so I don't know. It seems like they're doing a really good job controlling costs here in North Georgia. Did you know, this was a month or two ago, 60% of Americans have not even filed their 2020 tax returns yet. Last year's, that is. They have not filed their taxes for last year. 60% was the number I read about. That kind of says something, doesn't it? People are hurting bad if they're not even filing. I don't know what that metric normally is, but that sounds like a big. Oh, okay, federal taxes. Well, that's what I'm talking about too. They're saying 60% of the people hadn't filed federal taxes last year. Everybody seeing what's going on in Australia and curiously even Austria. It's like they're doing serious COVID lockdowns and all kinds of restrictive things. And I forget which country it was. I read they're even not allowing them to access to healthcare unless they get their vaccination. I got one more year. You know, we got state income taxes here, but I've got one more year where I'll be starting to shelter some taxes from state income taxes, because when you turn 62, your state income taxes, it starts phasing out because they don't want people retiring and leaving the state. So that's going to be a good day. Whew, I'm hot. It was kind of funny today. I was kind of cold, and I knew I was going to be cooking that steak up, and so it was a little bit of work to cut up the onions and bell peppers and cut the steak up, and then fry it all up, stir fry it type thing. I wish I'd have done more onions, but there was a lot more steak than I thought. But anyways, it's just funny when you eat some beef like that. It's like your wood stove in your body kind of gets cranked up, and it really helps. We got 27 minutes. I kind of went through my whole uh, spiel already. And we got all the way up to about 1867. I guess we've only dropped 1845, so that's hardly anything. So that's good. I really would like to see this thing. We need to bust through the next level. Let's see. We need to get past 1875. Then we got to get past 1900. And then like 1926. And then you got to get to 1953. So we've got several levels we still need to get through. And then, man, our last main peak was all the way up to like 2070 or something. So we got a long way still. But we're on the right path. Can't get too yeah, Colorado used to be such a free state. It's amazing. I don't understand how they think they can do that. That's going to be challenged. You know that's going to be challenged. I was looking at some statistics the other day where all they did was they plotted vaccinated and unvaccinated just across this way. And it was from like age 0 to like 62 or something. I forget what the upper age was, but it wasn't way up there like 75. It was, like up to my age. And they said, how many people that have, been vaccinated or not are getting COVID? And it was curious that the vaccinated people had a higher COVID rate. It was like 3% versus 2%. I'm kind of making it up. I can't remember the exact numbers, but roughly like that. So it's like, okay, we want everybody to get vaccinated, but yet they seem to be having a higher incident of not only getting COVID, but passing it off to everybody. And there's no records of anybody that's not vaccinated actually passing COVID off. So this is kind of a curious thing. I haven't watched Manorano in a long time. He used to be on my playlist thing, but honest to God, I have not been doing the same type of consumption of media like I was doing in the past. It's because I'm still going through something personal, and I've been preparing for my case like you wouldn't believe. So I think I've got some things that are going to be surprising because a retired engineer, first off, I don't do hearsay. I use data. I use facts. I don't do, innuendo. It's just all fact-based. And so I have some pretty interesting things that I put together that are going to be amazing. So we just kind of got to keep playing the game and see how things work out. Fortunately, the skills that I learned at work give me tremendous discipline and patience, and I think it's going to work out. Looks like I need a haircut bad. Get a little fluffy here. Maybe I can get out there tomorrow. We're supposed to get rain tonight. Another front coming through. Got to go up to Cheyenne, huh? You want to go to that mountain? I used to have I still have a friend. He's just in Florida. He worked at that facility. He said it was the strangest thing, though, because there'd be snow on the ground and it just wasn't as cold as like in North Georgia where we have all this humidity. You could be out there in a t-shirt, kind of playing in the snow. And I mean, sometimes here, I was outside the other day, and the sun wasn't out, so that's part of it. But it was like 52, and the breeze was blowing, and it was pretty uncomfortable, actually. Once I started, I was loading some wood on a hand truck and then bringing it over to put it up on the racks. Once I got working pretty good, my body warmed up. But it's like when I first went out there, it's like, dang, where's the sun? So are you guys all stocked up? Are you prepared? I keep hearing this dark winter stuff, but I don't know if this is going to be the year that's going to happen or not. I just wish I had my super duper batteries. I need to spend about $20,000 to get the super duper batteries where I can operate for maybe, I don't know, a week or more. Right now, the batteries I've got is probably about 24 hours. Yeah, Albert, I talked about this a little bit earlier that this is going to be a dead week this week because of people on vacation. So when you have low volume, it's easier to, move the metals around. You're going to see the same thing the last week of the year between Christmas and New Year's. In fact, I was watching David Morgan or somebody. He said the last day of the year has always been like one of the lowest prices for some reason because they can knock the thing down. I don't know about these governors, what the heck's going on. I found a website that ranks the different states by, like financial, how they treat the people, what the taxes are, all that kind of stuff. But they also had something about the freedom index. And Florida ranked pretty doggone high in a lot of the categories. Georgia ranked pretty high too, but the freedom was kind of like middle of the thing. So we were like 25 or something, but everything else, it was very high. So I guess you can't be number one for everything, but the only problem with Florida is just too many damn people down there right now. Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day. I need to go ahead and get my grandkids presents. It is, I actually was ahead of the game last year, and I did really well and got, it was by December 8th, I had everything in the mail and gone. So I was thinking about just putting together a list and Zell some money to my daughter-in-law and my daughter and let them, you know, go buy the stuff there. Because I tell you, the dang shipping was outrageous. I did Easter too. Easter was really expensive shipping stuff, especially California. I mean, I have a little box like this stuffed with all those Easter eggs and those. Uh, oh, I did buy Bibles last year, by the way. I bought the New Living Translation, and I bought my son the one where you can read the Bible in a year. So that was one of the gifts that I did for Christmas. But for Easter, I had all the different candies, including the Peeps and everything else, and I just couldn't believe how expensive that was to ship. Yeah, I even had the Bibles engraved. I found a place in town. You used to be able to do that in the bookstores, but the big bookstore, Books a Million or whatever, they don't do that anymore. So we got 21 people. What other things you want to talk about? We're on here 36 minutes. Dang, I forgot to bring my tool. By the way, my onions, I got notifications. They have been shipped. So I'll set up a little camera stand out there and show you how I plant my onions. I'll explain the whole thing. I'll try to do, I don't know if you guys ever watched the Michigan Gardener, I think it's called. That I love that guy. He's given me a lot of good ideas. Again, I don't watch any of this stuff anymore, but um, that guy really spends a lot of time. So would I recommend marriage or not? I will tell you that I would probably not be so naive this next time. There are certain things that you should, even though, okay, I was born a Christian and I put both feet into marriage. We only had one checking and savings combined. We did not keep it separate. When I got inheritances, I commingled it and I ended up paying off you know, our debt, our vehicles, our houses, all this stuff. And when I invested, I made sure her name was on everything. Even I owned a house before we got married. And the first time I refinanced, I did a quick claim deed and put her name on it. So I did this throughout the whole marriage. And I'm going to tell you right now, it doesn't hurt to keep some stuff separate because you'll have a place to go. So marriage is a tough thing. At this point in my life, if I end up with anything left after this, which I expect I will, there will be uh, things kept separate. Now, I may have life insurance policies that I have as a beneficiary. There may be things like that, but um, that's I probably could do a whole show on this. I'll tell you some things that will help you a lot, but it's a high risk situation. If you're going to have kids, you probably should be married. But if you're not going to have kids, move to a state where there is a can't think of what thing it's called where there's no what's that thing called where you're cohabitating with somebody but you're not married and it's common law like Georgia's. It's there's no common law here, so you can live with somebody forever, and as long as you keep your stuff separate, you will not have any issues. As long as you don't get her pregnant, all that kind of stuff. You can have your stuff, she can have her stuff, and just be careful not buying things together. Try to keep it separate. Uh, that that's not necessarily the way God wants us to do things, but I supposedly was married to a godly woman, and you see what's happening. So keep that in mind. I did want to talk about. I'm glad you kind of brought this up because a lot of people don't think about this. I usually draw these pyramids for investing, where you build your foundation, with like I've got some real estate and I have my gold, and then you move up to like the large miners, and then I have like some silver. And as you keep going up, you have like your medium-sized miners and your large or micro miners and stuff like that. But you get less and less as you get to the top. So I had an idea the other day, as a lot of people don't understand. We use this like the triangle, except we're going to do it up this way. Turn it over. How do I do it? Okay, we're going to do it like this. So we're going to do the triangle upside down like this. When you get married, not block my face. This part right here is the most important part as you're moving towards the least important part down here. When you get married, you're making a covenant with God, if you're a Christian, okay? And I mean, most people, they don't have God in their life, and they're getting married just to be married. But if you're doing it the Christian way, the first thing is you're making this covenant with God, and it's more than a promise. God takes these covenants very serious. You remember the covenants he had with Abraham and everything. So the biggest part of getting married is this more than a promise that you're making to God. The next thing you're making is a promise to your local church, and then you're making a promise to your family, and then you're making a promise to your friends. The last part, this small part right here, is the part where you're filling out the paperwork with the government, okay? And that's the stuff that you're basically making a business contract at that point. That is nothing really about the marriage. That's just a business part of it. Unfortunately, everybody tries to turn it around like this, and they try to say that this is the most important part down here. And that's not it. This part, this is the way it works, and this is by, the size of it. It's the part that God, that you've made the promise with. And if you break that covenant, you got to answer for that later. Because remember, what did the vow say? For better, for worse, richer or poorer, sickness and health, and all this stuff. There's really no excuses. You're supposed to be able to work it out. And if you don't, then you got to answer to that. So I look at the, I'm hoping that, once I get through this, I'll be able to find someone else that thinks along the same lines. And who knows, I may be married, but it's going to be, I'm going to tell you right now, when I met my wife, we were engaged in like 3 months and then married in like 6. And then we were together for 35 years until she left. This time it'll be together for a year, get engaged for another year, and then consider marriage. And I'll probably have, like I said, all my stuff will be kind of kept separate. And then, I'm actually not going to talk about, the issues going on with the marriage and everything with the, I'm not here to embarrass anybody. There's a lot of reasons why people do what they do, but I was a godly man. I did not cheat. I did not do anything. I've done everything I could. So that's for her to answer. I will tell you, the Filipinos, there's a lot of videos, YouTube videos. One's called the Filipina P or something P. I forget what it was. You should watch her videos because she does a lot of interviews with the different Filipino women. They're very traditional. I've heard a couple things about, especially when you're older like I am, you could probably go down there, find one, a younger one too. They like the older men because they're very stable, and they want somebody they can trust. And you will be able to bring them back here, but they do get Americanized. If you're able to go down there and stay, there is no divorce in the Philippines. And it's a little bit of a culture shock because everything is just slow down there. And it's hard for you. You won't be able to work or anything, but usually the women kind of work down there. It's a strange situation, but they are very, very traditional. So Thailand, same thing. A lot of Latin American, Colombia, Venezuela, they're very traditional too. Yeah, there's good women out there. I just don't know if there's any good American women anymore. No, this, when you go through something like this where you're betrayed like this is like, it, I know God tells people to forgive 70 times 7, but man, I don't know. Unless there's a mental issue, whatever, this is kind of like a done deal forever. I don't see how this could ever go back. When you tear somebody's heart up like that, that's kind of a done deal. I mean, so many things open up right now, potentially starting a whole new family, everything. This, I definitely don't recommend marrying anyone that has any children already. I've had a lot of friends, and I had an uncle that went through that, and they're never your kids. You got to be. It's a difficult situation. Something to be said about going to the Philippines and getting yourself a 30-year-old woman that is going to be the most loyal thing you could ever imagine. And a lot of them all have degrees. They, bring in pretty good money, and they love family. Remember, all the strong, independent women all, usually got strong and independent after they got a divorce because they did the divorce rape. Silverliner, how old are you? If you say our age, yeah, I'm 61, almost 62. Yeah, Henry, that's a tough situation. In Georgia, by the way, there's you can record people without their permission here. It's only a single permission state. I learned that last year. I wish I'd have known that because there's a lot of stuff that I could have had. But um, make sure you get stuff on video so you know what the heck's going on. Because unfortunately, the women get all of. I mean, women can just have hearsay, no evidence or anything, and everybody's believed. It's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen in my life. I've been watching a lot of MGTOW videos and everything because I find it kind of interesting. Okay, 60. Yeah, that's why I was saying, man, I would love to get some folks from Venezuela up here that know how to live off the land because I've learned how to do this, but I'm telling you, by yourself, this is a lot of work. I would love to be able to spread this around. And I got that basement apartment down there. It'd be nice to get, uh, a younger couple with some energy, and I can focus on the bigger picture, like going fishing. How'd you like my fishing partner? That was a joke, by the way. That picture on the for the live stream. I'll try to put that on there for the thumbnail for this as well. Did you know that we have amnesty for people from Venezuela? If you can get them in here, uh, there is no deportation. They just come in on a tourist visa and then they ask for amnesty, and there is no deportation. Then they can change their visa to where they can work, and then they can work towards getting U.S. citizenship. I think there's more than one country along those lines, but Venezuela, as we know, is a failed country, and Colombia is kind of right behind. It's very tough, tough thing. I actually want to do some traveling. Did I say the wrong thing? Did I say asylum or what did I say? I forget. It's late. I'm bound to say anything when I'm talking on this thing because I talk for a whole hour nonstop. I'll have to play it back, see what I said. Silverliner, did I say something other than asylum? We got 23 people, but it looks like a lot of them are just sitting here. What do you? Oh, amnesty. Okay. Yes, I think asylum is the right word. I need to go to the insane asylum. Yeah, I don't know about this election thing. I think there would be. I think that would be. That would be amazing. It's just amazing that we can go a whole year before anything happens. I don't know. I think it's great that we have patriots that'll fight this stuff all the way through, though. We need people like that. Well, we're at 51 minutes. I'm going to tell you right now. Yeah, there's actually secrets to doing prenups, and I'll probably do a video on it. But in Georgia, like I said, you start with a state where you do not have. Oh God, I said it earlier. What was that called? You don't have to get married, and then they don't have the thing where you are married after 6 or 7 years. We don't have that either. It's not just that term. I don't use that often. Oh, common law. We don't have common law here, and as long as you keep stuff in your name, keep stuff separate, don't commingle, there's really no need for prenup. You can do all this stuff, but you can still put survivorship things like on the accounts and for life insurance policies, all that kind of stuff. And then that way, you do have them covered if you want to cover them, and then they'll be taken care of. Yeah, we'll see. This has been kind of an interesting situation. So far, all they've thrown is hearsay, innuendo, and stuff like that. And like I said, I operate off a different approach. So we're holding everything for trial. I'm kind of torn about the whole marriage thing because, like I said, I made a promise and I promised forever, and I even told her, I said I'll never leave you, I'll never divorce you. But she's the one that did it, so it's on her. She gets to take the mark. Yeah, don't register your domestic partner status. I'm sure there's a whole bunch to understand about that, but I got nobody right now, so I'm not worried about it. But it's amazing though. Oh, you know what? I was watching this one show the other day, and they were talking about that because of how difficult the economy is. All these guys were talking about how women are coming out of the woodwork and going back into their phone books, calling up people that they hadn't talked to in years because they've been not working for a long time. Because remember, a lot of the non essential jobs, unfortunately, were women and they are hurting. And so now they are trying to find uh, somebody to rescue them. And of course, the guys that were rejected years ago, they're like, well, screw you. So there's a guy out there. I can't think of his name right now. He's been saying for a long time, winter is coming for these women, and they've been just screwing around and not settling down, and all of a sudden now they're going to be 50 with cats and are going to die alone. So we've got. I tell you, I just love this house. This is like heaven to me. Everything that I've got set up. I think the reason most people remarry is because it's what we've always done. And marriage is actually, it seems like more of a man's creation rather than God's creation. I mean, you go all the way back to like Adam and Eve and stuff. there wasn't a ceremony or anything like that. So we'll see. But it's it's really you're trying to make it known that you are totally committed to this person. So, well, I'll tell you what, we're at 55 minutes. I'm kind of hot. I think I got the fireplace too hot in there. I can hear it. I forgot to turn on the fan because I was trying to keep it quiet. Yeah, there was a video I was watching the other day. You know, it's some tremendous number of high percentage, like 70% of the women are going after the top 10% of the men. Some ridiculous inverted thing. And you know, of course, those top men are not going to commit, and so the people have unrealistic expectations, and they keep thinking that you know they don't want to lower their standards and everything. It's a joke. The whole thing's a joke. And a lot of these dating sites, I've seen the analysis of it that it's the same problem there. Those dating sites, it's upside down. Now I do have some friends that are on these like Latino, like Colombian Cupid, and a couple others like that, and it's totally different. The women are much more aggressive there. They're looking for you, not you looking for them. So that's something for you to think about. Latin American Cupid, Colombian Cupid. I can't think of all the different ones that were there, but he's told me that he's had much better luck. So, anyways, I hope everybody's treating you well. I hope you're doing well. Do the best you can. God bless.